evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Raising Bulls, brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network, Golden Goal Press, and Roughneck Scarves. We are the only podcast dedicated to the New York Red Bulls 2 of USL. Tonight, we're going to look at a weird match all around, middle of the day, middle of the week, not a very strong lineup, but still picking up a point on the road. Not too bad. Then we're going to talk to a fan favorite from the last couple of seasons, Andrew Tinari. He is currently with this week's opponent, Tampa Bay Rowdies. We'll be previewing that match in segment 3. And then going through US Open Cup rounds that started today. The second round of the US Open Cup, USL teams are jumping in. Obviously, New York Red Bulls 2 do not get to participate, but the 23s are still in. They play tomorrow night or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this. And, of course, we'll look at the standings. Joining me tonight, as always, or not really always, as sometimes, he was in Indianapolis last week, but he's back this week. It's Bill Toomey. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. You know, speaking of Indianapolis, I was out at a few bars and saw some Indy 11 signs hanging up. So it was really cool to go out to Indy and see a lot of support out there for the USL.
That's fantastic. I always like a market that embraces their team. We don't know what that's like up in New York.
Apparently, yes.
But everywhere else seems to really be interested in, at least on the local level, embracing the sport.
Yeah, I went to a bar called the Chatham, and they had an awesome selection of craft beer, and they had scarves hanging up from every team you could imagine and a lot of Indy 11 stuff. So it was really cool to see that. Good
work, Chatham. We're proud of you. Let's talk about a team north of the border, and that's Ottawa. Ottawa Fury sets up another weird camp day match at 10:30 in the morning. Luckily, I was able to finish my coffee before the match started because it was a little bit of a snooze fest, I'm going to say. It was not a particularly fun match to watch. It was very sloppy from both teams. Sebastian Elney, last week's guest, he got his first start, so that was kind of just luck and happenstance. Struggled a little bit. I think he didn't really have much service. Wasn't the best in hold-up play, but it is his first start, and I think, for considering the circumstances and the weird atmosphere of the match, I'll give him a pass. It wasn't too bad. Red Bulls 2 get caught on a counter for Ottawa's only goal. They basically score the exact same goal in the second half. At the latest possible moment, Jared Stroud puts one in. Not a great afternoon, but I think, still getting a point on the road is a good deal.
Yeah, I'm happy with the point on the road, and definitely helps the Red Bulls keep at the top of the table there. And if I recall, I think last year we played the same type of game up in Ottawa, or was it the year before, where it was like 10:30 in the morning, and I looked at the schedule again this year, and I'm like, wait, is there a typo, or is that the correct time? And then I remember, I was like, oh, wait, we played the same game last year where it was 10:30 in the morning, and just such an odd time for a soccer game, because it's their annual school day game up there, I guess it's called. And definitely an interesting concept.
I think it's camp day. Is it school day? It could be school day.
Could be.
Whatever.
I think that's
whatever the day is. Yes, they did play that match last year, and equally as boring. Apparently, the teams are not adept at playing so early in the morning. Last year, it was a 0-0 result. Maxime Crepeau really stood on his head. Evan Loro or Ryan Mir, I don't remember who started that match, didn't have much to do on the other end. And then this year, I think the finishers helped out the goalies more than anything else, but just, a bit of a sloppy match and not what we're used to seeing. But that is because that day they announced Tom Barlow was signing for the Red Bulls of MLS and would be unavailable for the match. Matthias Jorgensen was also unavailable. It was because Brian White was hurt and couldn't play Wednesday night. So two guys who have been spending a lot of time starting up top for New York Red Bulls 2 are kind of pulled out of action. And, I think John is still happy with the depth that he has on the team, but I think it's also apparent that guys like Amarildo and Elney are still very green and very new to the whole process. I know Amarildo is not necessarily new to the system, but he's certainly new to USL and the physicality of the league. And I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for both guys to settle in, but early returns are not bad. It's not like we were watching someone up there that didn't belong on the field, but it just looked like, something was a little bit off, which is, I think, very, very common with new guys.
Yeah, I think it was too, and you could even tell, when Ottawa scored the first goal, it was kind of, you could tell it was way too early in the morning to be playing soccer, because it almost seemed like everybody was, standing on the field watching the game happen as it was progressing on the field.
I'll still give Ottawa a little bit of credit, because that was a nice cut back to the top of the box.
It was.
I don't remember. I think it was Edgardo Rito gets beat to the end line and the ball's cut back, but not a terrible result. I will say I was a little annoyed with Jared Stroud because, as some of you are aware, I'm generally writing up recaps. I'm able to post them since I'm the editor of RBNN at the final whistle. Did
you jinx yourself?
That is a huge benefit. I finished writing my entire recap, including talking about how the Red Bulls lost and they gave it their best and all this stuff. I'm getting ready to submit it, and Jared Stroud scores at the latest possible moment, which then meant I had to scramble and rewrite a large chunk of my article. It's not dissimilar to my penalty kick jinx, which has been in effect for the last couple of seasons.
Yes. Yep, you've had quite a few of those where you're ready to send out a tweet or a story and everything changes in a matter of seconds.
Yes. The other thing that we can talk about, I think, or at least it would be prudent to talk about a very, very tiny bit, because I don't want to spend too much time on the MLS team, but the big boys decided to heavily rotate the squad. There was 10 new players in the starting 11 for the Red Bulls against FC Dallas on the weekend. And that squad was largely made up of guys who had spent a lot of time with the two team this season. Sean Nealis, Andreas Ivan, Derek Etienne, Vince Bezecourt has seen a couple games, Brian White, the same kind of thing. It was just really nice to see these guys get a chance at the MLS level and get a really big result on the road. Sean Nealis, first start in MLS, and he gets a goal. It's a little bit of a wonky goal, but it's a goal nonetheless. And Brian White also gets a goal at the end of the match. Congrats, guys. Sean hasn't been on the show yet, but we'll get him on. And Brian obviously was on last season. Terrific young fellow from Flemington, New Jersey. I couldn't be happier for either of those guys. Oh, and of course, I didn't even bring up Caceres, who scored the opener. From
Ryan Mira was awesome to see. I love seeing Ryan Mira play. He just handles the goal completely different. And, he's so eager to play, and it's awesome to see him get some time. Yeah, and of course, he played a lot on the Red Bulls, too, during that championship season. I'll never forget those penalty kick shootouts.
Yep.
Where he was just a beast in goal.
His instincts in goal are phenomenal. He made a great save in the first half of this one. Christian Caceres, his goal came from Andreas Ivan. Again, these are guys who have spent a good amount of time with Red Bull 2 this season, so absolutely fantastic. Great result. Let's talk man of the match for Ottawa Fury. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Jared Stroud.
Yeah, I think that is a perfectly reasonable choice. Jared gets the goal at the very, very end of the match. He was one of the so-called senior players on the pitch, and it was nice to see him step up and put the team on his back and rescue a point where they really, I don't think they really necessarily earned a point, but
no,
they got one.
And they almost scored a goal in the 75th minute when he had that shot from way outside the box that was like a rocket. And the goalie had to jump, and he just saved it. It almost went in.
So good work, Jared Stroud. The other big news this week, I mentioned it a second ago, Tom Barlow is officially an MLS rostered player. I'm sure that he's still going to be loaned down to Red Bull 2. He ended up coming in because Bradley Wright Phillips was hurt, Brian White was hurt, and between him and Matthias Jorgensen, he is the most informed striker, I think, within the two levels. Not a great performance for him on Wednesday. I mentioned it on Seeing Red. They did not play to his strengths, which is, ball to feet, looking to get in behind the back line, but not necessarily playing long ball where he's got to get up for the ball and hold it. That's really not his game. I think he struggled a little bit there, but he still almost came away with a goal in this one because he was just kind of in the right place at the right time. Overall, Bill, I want to get your thoughts on how you think he performed against Montreal.
I think he performed pretty well. It's still his first few games with the first team there, so I think it's going to take a few games for him to get used to playing with everybody else. Even though he's played with them, it's still different from playing on Red Bulls too. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for him to get used to that. And even over this past season so far, we've seen how he's changed every single game on Red Bulls too, where he's been so much more aggressive and trying to get on the ball and trying to take every shot he can take and convert every shot that he can take. So I definitely think he's going to get better with the first team too, every chance that he gets to play.
So a couple of weeks ago, I think we were asking whether or not we thought he would be someone who could catch on with the first team. Apparently it's happened. Tom, we could not be happier for you. Again, another great young player that is coming through the Red Bull system, progressing, advancing, developing into a stronger player, and the rewards are there. Again, I think the best thing for the team is when you have guys like Barlow doing well, and then that's recognized at the MLS level, and other development players or draft picks or academy players see that and see that there is a path there, that if they perform and they do their job, they're going to be able to move on. Now, I know tonight's guest is probably one of those guys who kind of fell through. I wouldn't necessarily fell through the cracks, but he didn't catch on with the first team just because he was in such a crowded position, is a guy like Andrew Tinari. So there are still spots on the team that I think are hard to crack. Central midfield is definitely one of them. Anybody on the wing is definitely one of them. That's why I think it's been a little bit difficult for Derek Etienne, but each time he comes in, he's been having some really nice shifts. But there are big hills to climb for those guys. If you're not a quote unquote special player, a guy like Tyler Adams, it's definitely going to be hard at those spots. But at striker, either wing back, center back, I think goalkeeper is another spot that, despite having Luis Robles and Ryan Mera, Robles is probably getting to a point or close to a point where he's going to retire soon. So there's still going to be, churning through players at that position. There's still going to be spots open. Ryan's done terrific every time he's in there, but, having a little competition for him, I think, wouldn't hurt. And guys like Evan Loro are absolutely, I think, in contention in that conversation within the next couple of years.
Not to get too far off topic, but do you think we'll see what we saw happen against FC Dallas happen again, where it's 10 players are switched up in the starting 11 and a good chunk of them are Red Bull 2 players coming up to play for the first team?
The way that I look at the way they performed this weekend in Dallas, those guys made a claim to those spots. They played well enough that they should be out there again. One of the things that the Red Bulls have talked about in the past is, sticking with the sort of hot hand. And those guys all came out. They did their jobs. They were very, very clinical. They showed the sort of energy that's required for the Red Bull system. And, for me, the quote-unquote starters have to then prove themselves and get back in that lineup.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, that's it for the first segment. Kind of short, I know, but not a lot to talk about in that Ottawa game. It was just kind of a mess, but we move on.
Darn 10:30 games in the morning. Darn 10:30 a.m. games.
Yeah. Jared Stroud, player of the match. Tom Barlow, congrats on your promotion. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Andrew Tinari, former Red Bull midfielder and all-around pitbull. A nice word for a player who is a pest on the field. So stick around. And we're back. back. We're joined now by former Red Bull midfielder and this week's opponent. It's Mr. Andrew Tinari. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. I mean, I don't like that Red Bull has to come up against you as an opponent, but here we are. How's everything going down in Tampa so far?
It's good. Can't complain about the weather on the beaches. So living down here is nice, but we're doing pretty well so far. So I can't complain.
Yeah, undefeated through 10 matches. Some of those are draws, but I think it's still impressive to get through 10 matches and not lose a single one. So how is that happening with the team?
Like you said, we have some draws. That we're a little disappointed with. But I mean, just going into every game with a purpose and having a mindset that we're going to win and being positive about it. I mean, we want to get as many wins at home. So coming to the Rowdies was pretty hard to play against. So just making sure we get every home game with 3 points, and then coming home with a point at least on the away. So just going in with that mindset, I think we've been pretty successful so far. But I mean, we're going into the middle of the season now, or halfway through the season, just trying to get there the next couple of games. So we'll see how we go moving forward. But we're looking good. We're positive, and it's been fun so far.
And 6 of those matches so far this season have been shutouts. Really, really strong defense for Tampa Bay. And obviously you guys and New York Red Bulls are sitting at the top of the table. I wasn't exactly expecting Red Bull 2 to be doing so well out of the gate. But I think there were a lot of good expectations around Tampa Bay, but maybe a little overshadowed by teams like Indy 11, who went out and acquired a lot of talent, and Nashville, who did the same kind of thing. So maybe a little bit of a surprise. Was it a surprise for you for the team to be so strong?
Red Bull or Tampa?
I guess either.
I mean, Red Bull started with Red Bull. Red Bull has this style of play, so no matter what, they're always a difficult team to play against. I'm not surprised with the success so far, and they're going to continue to have success depending on who they have on the field, what first-team guys come down. So, I mean, they'll have a good season. They seem very strong. They just got to stay healthy and keep the good mindset, which they usually do. I mean, kids are fighting for the first team, so no matter what, no matter how the time is going in the middle of the season, towards the end, they'll always do well just because guys are fighting for an opportunity. But down here, it's a little different. I mean, guys are more experienced. Guys are a little older. Like when I was at Red Bull, I turned 23, and I was one of the older guys. So
yeah. Here,
I'm one of the younger guys. So it's just a different mindset. I mean, guys are coming here, and some guys have families and everything. So it's just different. But style of play, I think we're trying to gain the idea of a Red Bull style, not exactly, but our idea of pressing is pretty similar. We want to get the ball back as soon as possible and keep the ball possessed and then go forward with a purpose. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We play this Saturday, so it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
And talking about, wanting to play the same way, you have a couple of familiar guys down there. You got David Najem and Brandon Allen. Did that make it a little bit easier coming in?
Yeah, I'm actually living with them now. So it's just, I mean, I think the whole transition process has been pretty seamless for me, which is something I'm very grateful for. But, I mean, I'm here to do a job. So no matter where I would have went, I don't think I would have had a problem. So it's been nice.
So you're living with them?
Yes, I'm living with them right now.
Which of you guys is the messy roommate?
Oh God. I mean, Brandon will kill me for this, but it's obviously Brandon.
He cleans up in front of goal, but not in the house. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's pretty good in general, but out of all 3 of us, he's probably the messiest.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was a little bit of a surprise for Red Bull fans that you ended up departing this offseason. Did you have some sense that your time was coming to an end there?
No, I mean, obviously you're hoping to the end you get the opportunity, but it just didn't end up happening, and no hard feelings. I think everything happens for a reason, and we'll see where this next step takes me. But they had their reasons, and it is what it is. I'm grateful for the time there, and that's really all I can say.
You think that's going to bring any extra firepower for you and the XRB guys taking them on this weekend?
I mean, obviously there's a sense of wanting to prove yourself to an old team and old teammates, old friends, and it'll be good. I'm excited for it just because I get to play guys that I've played with and became friends with, and it'll be fun. It's always a good competitive atmosphere, especially versus them and the way they play. So it'll be fun to see what comes of them.
And just in terms of your performances this year, you're second on the team with goals. It's not a huge tally; it's only 2, but it's still showing that you're picking up things. Same with assists and chances created. I don't think any of us are surprised at the contributions that you've given so far. But one, I think, maybe a little surprise was you had a terrific goal a couple of weeks ago. Walk us through that a little bit.
That was actually my first start for the team because I didn't play the first couple of games due to coach's reasons. It is what it is. I just wanted to get my opportunity, and once I got on, I knew I'd perform in some way, but I wasn't expecting a goal like that. But so I made a run in behind the defensive midfielder, just try and create space, and I got the ball slipped in. I took a touch backwards because someone said man on, but when I checked, there was no one there, so I took a turn and was going to go forward, but I realized I had so much space, so I was like, you know what, might as well just hit it. It was a good opportunity, saw the space, and luckily I hit it well. And it was one of those moments when you hit the ball, you kind of have the feeling where, all right, this is a good hit, but I wasn't expecting it to go top or hit post and then go in. So it was definitely an exciting feeling for me just because it was the first start for me, and I just wanted to make an impact for the game.
And an impact you made, and you've been in the lineup pretty much since then, right?
Yeah, I started every game since, so I've been pretty well so far.
Moving forward, let's start with this season. But moving forward, what are your expectations around the remaining matches, and then where do you see yourself in the next couple of years?
Where I see myself, that is to be decided. Hopefully, I can get over to Europe, try and do as best I can over there. At this point, it's just trying to get to the highest level possible, keep pushing myself in different ways within my soccer career. But, I'm not really thinking until the end of the season what's going on. Right now, I'm just trying to do as well as possible with the team individually. With team success comes individual success. So taking game by game and trying to help the team as best as possible. So.
Well, I know that there's a bunch of us up here that'll be rooting for you. Do you have any messages you'd like to send to the old RB faithful?
I'll see them this weekend. I'll talk to most of them. I have a pretty good relationship with most of them, except the new guys, obviously, I don't know very well. But we'll have some fun. I'll get to hang out with some of them. So I'll have some words then. We'll have some banter.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to get to know you quite intimately in the match this week.
Yeah.
Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. We wish you nothing but the best of luck this weekend. Well, not too much luck this weekend and in the future.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for the call.
And when we come back, we're going to finish previewing that match against Tampa Bay. So stick around. And we're back. Final segment, guys. We're going to preview the match against Tampa Bay Rowdies this weekend. They are the only undefeated team in the East. They are 5-0-5. They are sitting tied with the Red Bulls with 20 points in the standings. This is a battle for first place, guys. Very, very exciting. A plus 11 goal differential. They are 2-0-3 in their last 5 matches, and that is the same as their home record, 2-0-3. Their wins came against Atlanta, which was a big one. That was 4-1, and Nashville SC. 2 decent teams. They drew Indy 11, Charlotte, and Louisville City FC. Goals from Sebastian Guinzetti. I'm going to say that wrong. Guinzetti. I hope that's right. I'm sorry, guys. 5 goals for him. Andrew Tinari, Juan Tejada each have 2. David Najam, Brandon Allen, Sean Barry, Zach Steinberger, and Leo Fernandez all have 1. The assist leaders, Leo Fernandez with 4. Andrew Tinari, number 2 on the team with 2. Sean Barry, Jan Ekra, and Sebastian Guinzetti. Oh, I did it wrong again. With 1 each. Again, they are undefeated on the season. They are defensively stout. Guess how many goals they've given up this season, Bill?
I'm going to go with 5.
4 goals.
Oh, wow.
They are really, really good. They like to press. They like to create chaos and create chances out of the turnover. But they're a little less direct than the Red Bulls in that regard and are willing to pass it around a little bit. They're a little bit more patient. They have not given up more than 1 goal in any game this season, which I think is super duper impressive. And again, 4 goals total on the season they've given up. The Red Bulls, meanwhile, are the best offense in USL. I guess in the Eastern Conference. They have 22 goals. So this is the best offense versus the best defense. It's going to be something fun. It might turn into a sort of difficult stalemate, but I think this is going to be a good one. My super scientific stat comparison, the Red Bulls, once again, take defense, tackle success, duels won, and goals conceded. I said that wrong. They split defense, tackles 1 and duels 1 point towards the Red Bulls. Aerial duels and goals conceded point for Tampa Bay. Distribution, Tampa Bay takes the cake. They are very clinical, as I've said. 76% of their passes on the season complete, including 71% in the opponent's attacking half. It's very, very good. But the attack, again, this goes back to the Red Bulls. They take a lot more shots. They find the target a lot more often, and they convert a lot more often. Not by a lot, mind you. The Tampa Bay Rowdies only have 37 shots on goal. They've scored 15. That's good for 17% of their shots. Red Bulls, 69 shots on goal. They've scored 22. That's 18% conversion. The Red Bulls, though, still with a crazy goal per 90 number. They score on average every 36.8 minutes. That wasn't true in Ottawa, but man, oh man, they are really knocking them in this year. With Tampa Bay, there's a little bit more space, 60 minutes per goal. I think when you look at this team and you look at guys like Tinari and you look at David Najam and Brandon Allen, I think that they each, because they were all very, very good for the Red Bulls too, I think they each have a bone to pick with the Red Bulls organization because they moved on from them. And I gotta expect that they're going to be bringing the firepower. Even though they're more of a defensive team this season, I think they're really going to be gunning for this one. Bill, what's your take?
Yeah, especially having so many former players on Tampa Bay. All of those guys have a good idea and insight of how the Red Bulls system work. So that's definitely not going to help Rebels 2 going into the game this weekend. Plus, and it's an away game, right? So that adds to it. It's an away game against a team who knows how you play, who's been having a phenomenal season. Even though the Rebels have not lost in the past 3 games against Tampa Bay, it's definitely going to be a rough game on Saturday, and it could maybe be so far the best game of the season that we might see.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. I think it could be very, very explosive. But the other part of this is we don't know who's going to be lining up for the Red Bulls to an attack. That was obviously a question mark midweek. It will be a question mark again this week, depending on how fit Brian White is. He played very well against Dallas. We know that Bradley Wright Phillips is still out, so do they want to have Barlow and White on the bench for the first team and Jorgensen down with the second team, or some combination of that. It will be interesting to find out. I definitely think that if they come out there with the same lineup that they went out against Ottawa, that they will be crushed. I don't think that they played particularly well, but Ottawa let them off the hook a lot, especially in distribution. There was a lot of sloppy turnovers, which, I think a team like Red Bull, because they play very direct and are constantly looking to play the ball forward, they're prone to. But that's going to be a problem against a team with skillful players up top like Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's going to be rough because I feel like, all the players on the first team are not going to be ready, and they're going to need a lot of those players from the second team to step up. So Tom Barlow is definitely, in my book, out of the question for Tampa Bay over the weekend.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So let's look at what we think the lineup will be. I'm assuming in goal it's going to be Evan Loro. We don't know if Luis Robles is still hurt. Over the weekend, he also was out. We thought maybe it was just him resting, but he had a calf strain that he suffered against Montreal, so there's a good question there about whether or not Mira would be going down with the first team or the second team. I think most likely he would be with the first team anyway, but we'll have to see. On the back line, Rito, I would think Giannis has kind of struggled when he has played there, or you could play Reese Buckmaster out on that side. Scarlett and Nealis are must, but again, like I said, I think Nealis did really well in his start, but I think it's hard to supplant Tim Parker or Aaron Long. And then out left, it's either going to be Buckmaster or Giannis, I would guess. So because of how Rito's played recently, I would say Rito on the right, Buckmaster on the left. Bill, what do you got?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. And then it's kind of hard for the midfield. Is Kyle going to be back in? Kyle Zajac?
Zayats.
I always mess up his last name.
It's all right. I said that to Olenek after a match, and he said, I definitely have been calling him something different for years. Kyle said his name to me. That's the only reason I know it. I'm terrible at pronunciations, as all of you who listen to the show know. I would guess that we're still going to be looking at Lima and Kofi as the starters in that deeper spot. If they're going to play two up top, that would be a little bit more of a question. But I would assume that the three in the midfield are going to be Stroud, Lima, and Kofi, and or Bezecourt, Lima, and Kofi.
Does Marcus Epps get another chance?
Yeah, I think so. I think Marcus is really good for this team and has done really well. The question about him, and our friend Anthony Merced had brought this up in the past, is if this team is looking to develop players for the first team, what is his role going to be? Because he's not exactly a young guy in terms of the Red Bull system, not in terms of just soccer, because I think he's only 23 or 24. But is he someone who's going to develop for the first team? And if not, do you just keep playing him at the risk of not developing another player for Red Bulls too? He's 24 years old this season.
It's hard to believe that's kind of the higher end of the Red Bulls 2 roster, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. He's an elder statesman at 24 years old, which is ridiculous. Hey, well, I'll get to this in a minute. The U.S. Open Cup has a very interesting result that's unfolding right now, but we'll get over to that in a second. And then up top, Stroud. Ideally, it would be Stroud, Barlow, Epps. I could see it also being Ivan and Etienne if they're going to come back down. Again, I think they need to be with the first team. Just the way they've been playing, they are the men in form, and they should be the starters, along with Omir Fernandez. But that's besides the point. One thing we forgot to mention for the goal for Jared Stroud, the pass that led to the assist, so the key pass in that sequence, was from Ben Mines, who had not really appeared much for this team this year, so it was nice to see him get in there and get in on the action. Okay, going back to the match this week. Bill, what is your score prediction?
Score prediction for me is Going to be a very close game. I hope to see Red Bulls 2 win, so I'm not going to predict my usual crazy blowout score. But I'm definitely going to go with a 3-2 win for New York Red Bulls 2 on the road.
I would very much take that. I am going to be a lot more conservative. I think that Tampa Bay's defense is very, very good. They're going to frustrate the Red Bulls a little bit, but similar to this match, they're going to come from behind. It's going to be a 1-1 draw in Tampa Bay, which is a great result. Both teams would stay in first place, I think, pending other results. What else is who else is up at the top there? We're going to look at the standings now. Might as well, right? I'm talking about.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, so St. Louis has a chance to jump over them if they win this weekend at Louisville. Or Louisville.
Right,
yeah, as Russ McKenzie might say. Louisville. Even though it's named after King Louis, it's Louisville. What? What, Russ? I know you're driving in your car, or maybe you're riding your bike right now, getting ready for your bicycle race.
It's better not cause them to have a crash.
Yeah. Well, look out. That was just in case. Anyway. Yeah, so if the Red Bulls and Rowdies tie this weekend, St. Louis has a chance to jump up into first place. It will be very interesting to see how that... I guess they would be tied to first place. They'd have to win by a lot to overtake the Red Bulls because the goal differential. But anyway, that'll be very interesting. So let's go top to bottom in the East. New York Red Bulls 2, 20 points at the top. Then Tampa Bay Rowdies, 20 points. St. Louis FC, 18. Nashville, 17. Louisville, 16. Charleston, 16. North Carolina, Indy, Ottawa, and Beth Steel. That's 15, 14... 14 and 12. Those are the spots 1 through 10. Not a bad lineup for the teams above the line.
Yeah, below the line. Oh, man. Hartford. I just want to give a shout to Hartford for losing all the games so far, not winning a game yet.
Hey, they got a draw. They got a point.
Okay, they got a point.
Stand down, Bill. They have... Their goal differential is almost equal to the number of goals that the Red Bulls have scored this season. That's just crazy.
Negative 19 could be worse.
But anyway, so 11 down, Atlanta United 2, Birmingham Legion FC, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Bob Lilly, what's going on there? 2, 1, and 5. That's a real Bob Lilly team, I got to say.
Yeah.
But I expect them to be above the line. Anyway, Loudoun United underneath them. Then Memphis 901 FC. I thought they would have been a better team. They're really struggling. Charlotte Independence, Swope Park Rangers, and Hartford Athletic rounding out the bottom. What is this week? What team are you surprised is above the line, Bill?
I'm still surprised by North Carolina FC, especially after last season.
I found out that my cousin is dating a boy who his friend? No, I think his cousin is on North Carolina FC.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that? Small world.
We got to make another road trip down there since we never got to go last year. It's our road trip destination.
Yeah, that would be good. I would like that. Tommy McCabe plays for North Carolina FC. He's the cousin of my cousin's boyfriend. What a weird small world. What team are you surprised is below the line? Is it Pittsburgh? Did we kind of cover that
Pittsburgh,
already?
definitely. I always thought Swope Park was such a good team just because of when you played them in the championship. So it's just so weird to see them number one on our side and number two, second to last place with one win so far for the season.
I mean, that really speaks to my general disrespect of the Western Conference. I think there's a lot of good soccer that happens there, but those players tend to not be able to stand up to the sort of physical matches that they face against the East when they get to the championship. Out West, I'm going to go through this much faster. Portland Timbers 2, New Mexico United, Fresno FC, Reno 1868, Tulsa Roughnecks, Las Vegas Lights, 6th place, Las Vegas Lights. Austin Bold, OKC Energy, Sac Republic, and LA Galaxy 2. That's the top 10. Underneath, Phoenix Rising, Orange County, El Paso Locomotive, Rio Grande Valley, Real Monarchs in 15th place. They're only in 15th place by 3 points. They would be, they could be as high as 6th place if they win one match.
Yeah.
That's how wide open the West is right now. San Antonio FC, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and Tacoma Defiance. All the way down to 16th place. One win and all the teams ahead of them lose, you could jump up to 6th.
That's just crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
In the East, the lowest team that could, I guess the biggest mover could go from 15th to 10th. My goodness.
Or Hartford could go from 18th to 18th. So that's good.
I would love for Hartford to run the table at home when they finally start playing home matches, which is May 25th is their first home match. It's against Ottawa.
Oh, jeez.
Then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Those will just play the
six of their next
season.
8 matches are at home, and then it kind of goes back and forth. But I think they finish with a big run too, another 3. So if they run the table at home, it would be the greatest thing ever. They could be the Red Bulls 2 of the season.
That'd be great.
Red Bulls 2 the last 2 years really struggled to win away from home, but managed to make the playoffs and make a deep run just because they made them. Anyway, that is the USL standings. The only other USL news that we've got for this week, Adam John, former San Jose Earthquake, and I believe he played on Columbus Crew as well. They called him Pillow Feet.
What a nickname.
Because he's got a soft touch. 2 goals in a 3-1 win over Rio Grande Valley. That was good enough for him to be Player of the Week. Congrats, Adam John. I did not vote for Adam John. Just throwing that out there. But congrats nonetheless. Let's go through the U.S. Open Cup scores. There's quite a few that are going on. Right now, Charlotte Independence and Florida Soccer Soldiers are heading to penalty kicks. I'm going to pull that up on ESPN while I'm going to finish recording this. Just so that I can see that penalty kick shootout while it's happening and potentially report on it. But we'll see. This might destroy all of my recording ability, but it's worth it for you the fans. I don't know.
Putting yourself at risk.
Yep, putting myself at risk, but we're going for it. All right, I'm lining that up. Okay, Tampa Bay Rowdies, this weekend's opponent, they beat the Villages. Yep, the Villages, 4-1 today. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, big win, 3-0 over the Dayton Dutch Lions. Hartford Athletic defeating the New York Cosmos 2-1. OKC Energy is currently leading NTX Rayados. Oh, we got a first goal in the penalty kick shootout. They're up. OKC's up 1-0. San Antonio is beating Laredo Heat 2-0. Nashville up 3-1 over Tormenta, or South Georgia Tormenta 2, the PDL side, not the team in League One. Austin Bold are up 1-0 over the Tulsa Roughnecks. Rounding out the rest of the games this week, Las Vegas Lights versus Cal. I don't. Who is Cal? They are.
Nashville.
They are an amateur side. They beat Mulhouse Portland to get into this. I would love for them to beat the Lights, just because. Who the hell is that? El Farolito takes on Fresno tomorrow. Louisville City and Reading United, those are 2 teams we know. North Carolina FC taking on the Richmond Kickers. That should be a really fun one. Indy 11 versus the Lansing Ignite. Greenville Triumph, Charleston Battery. Memphis 901 taking on New York Red Bulls 2 U23. The U23's got a very big win. We talked about it last week. Torrential downpour delayed the game for a little bit, but they came back. They were down 1-0 to start the match. They went up 3-1. They gave up 2 late goals. It ended 4-4 in extra time, and they won a penalty kick shootout. Way to go, U23s. Birmingham Legion take on Westchester United tomorrow. Des Moines Menace versus St. Louis FC. Colorado Springs Switchbacks versus FC Denver. El Paso Locomotive versus Ford Madison. Orange County SC versus Orange County FC.
Wonder which team came first.
Orange County FC appears to be an amateur side, which is amazing. Again, I really hope they beat their SC counterparts. Phoenix Rising FC versus New Mexico United. That's an awesome, awesome match. The Southwest, I don't know. Some kind of analogy. The Southwest Scuffle.
We can't call them the Miners.
No, of course not. Sac Republic, Reno, 1868, round out the rest of the Open Cup round 2. It is so much to report on in that first round.
And the U23 team is going to be playing on a baseball field tomorrow. So
woo-woo.
There you go.
I would love to see them beat Memphis 901. I really don't see it.
Oh, it'd be great.
Right now, just giving you an update, Florida Soccer Soldiers is currently leading the penalty kick shootout. It's in the middle of the third round. They're up 3-2. Charlotte is about to respond now. I imagine they're still going to come out on top on this, but if they don't, we can tease Goose. Ooh, it's 3-3. 3-3 in the third round of the penalty kick shootout. I'll keep you updated on that while we do our sign-off. That's it for us tonight, guys. We stretched it for as long as we could. Now we're ready to get the heck out of here. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at _Joe Goldstein.
I'm at BillTNJ.
And if you'd like to follow the show, and we hope you do, we are at Raising Bull Cast. That's one bull, Raising Bull Cast. And of course, that's all on Twitter. You can find us at Facebook.com/RaisingBulls. You can find us at RaisingBulls.com. You can even send us questions there at questions@RaisingBulls.com. That's questions at RaisingBulls.com. Raisin Bulls. That's it. Raisin Bulls. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. Find us, rate us, review us, subscribe. It helps. Every tiny bit helps, and we love you for it. Thank you so much. You know, it's been a while since I've gone to our reviews on iTunes. Let's hop over there. Let's see what is happening.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I'm guessing that we don't have any new reviews.
We had a few last time, like a year ago.
We had a few. I kind of remember that. Ratings and review. 10 user ratings, guys. 9 5-star ratings. 1 a 4-star.
Darn that 4-star rating.
Only kind of okay. Not nearly as inconsistent as the team they talk about. I think I did read that last time. I remember that. Yeah. Love this podcast for helping me stay up to date with what's going on with the Red Bulls since I moved away from New Jersey. Great. Awesome. Love the hosts. Fantastic. Yeah. So, look, there's 10 ratings there. This is very, very poor performance, guys. Dewan family, I'm talking directly to you right now. What, you can't give us a review on iTunes? All right. Full disclosure, I was up very, very late last night, and I am slightly crazy right now.
Yes,
because as I've finished this up, Enzo Martinez missed his penalty kick, and Florida Soccer Soldiers advanced to the third round of the U.S. Open Cup. Wow. Another amateur side. I love it. Oh, Goose is going to hear so much about this. Let's find out a little bit about the Florida Soccer Soldiers. Who the heck are you?
Yeah.
They've got a homepage. They're
Charlotte Independence.
They're a UPSL side. Amazing. Wow. Amazing. I cannot believe what we've just witnessed. UPSL upsetting USL. Oh man. It's an adult league, but these are like amateur players. Congrats. Florida Soccer Soldiers. Amazing. Love it.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Anyway, back to what's happening now. We are, of course, brought to you by BGN.FM. That's the Beautiful Game Network. They cover MLS, USL, Premier League, and NWSL. They've got a ton of great shows. Back into the top of the order. It's like baseball. I'll run down and I'll keep going through this list. The USL show, you know them, you love them. They cover everything. Backyard Footy, The Last Line, Bethlehem Blast Furnace, Birmingham Backline, Back Chat, Seriously Loco, Foxtrot Pod, Sock Takes, the other football podcasts, 901 Soccer Pod, and Speedway Soccer, and so much more. If you want to know anything about what's happening in USL, they probably have a podcast. And if they don't, some of their writers are talking about it. They've got a lot of great written content as well. Please go check them out. Give them all kinds of follows. These are really, really great podcasters, and you should definitely give them your time of day. Of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor, the Golden Goal Press, the best choice for you to get custom shirts, hats, mugs, and other items for just yourself or your organization. Check out their amazing products at a fraction of the price of other places at goldengoalpress.com. And of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. For myself, Bill Toomey, Andrew Tinari, and the Florida Soccer Soldiers, thank you very much, and have a good night.